All right, so good evening, everyone, and I am so happy to be here for our May book talk for Cheryl Lee Ralph's latest book, Diva 2.0, 12 Life Lessons from Me to You. A beautifully written book, real easy to get through, but some super important messages in here. I want to start with the dedication page. She dedicated her book to us, the reader. It says, "This book is dedicated to you, dear reader. There are many books you could have chosen, but you chose this one. Maybe it was the cover, maybe it was your interest in me and my story. Whatever the reason, I thank you for choosing my book because it was written for you, to encourage you, to inspire you, to help you discover just how important you and your life journey really are. So grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and get ready to drink from my wisdom well, because this book is dedicated to you, dear reader." And I just thought that just from her spirit that you can feel from what she wrote, she really comes from a heart of wanting to help others to get better. And then her author's note, she says, "It's important to note that my diva is more than big hair and attitude. Diva is an acronym for divinely inspired, victoriously alive, aware, awesome. And if it were Sunday, anointed. A diva is definitely inspirational and vivaciously alive. And divas are daring, inquisitive, and valiantly aware. So my dear divas in training, create your own magnificent diva and embrace her or him fearlessly. You will never know the diva you are before you, the diva you are to become until you do. And when you finally get there, you'll laugh out loud and dance in step with your diva self, knowing that you too are divinely inspired, victoriously alive. So go on, be inwardly gorgeous and outwardly fabulous, diva." So
Yeah.
and that I well said. So Shirley Ralph, she
Mhm.
is a amazing woman and kind of on the down low, on the down key. She never really promoted herself. I'm so glad that she's now getting out there more. She was born December 30th, 1956, which makes her 66 years fabulously old. And she was born in Waterbury, Connecticut. She is known for Dreamgirls from 1981 on Broadway. She was on the show Moesha, which I loved watching her play Brandy's stepmom, Dee. She was in Motherland, Fort Salem. And right now she's on Abbott Elementary as a teacher on there. And I love watching her in that role as well.
And all the awards that she's winning for Abbott Elementary.
Yeah, Abbott Elementary is just
Wow.
her up. And it's such a good show. If you have not watched it, you should definitely watch it.
Yeah.
She does a great job. What I like about it is she played a teacher and principal on Moesha. So she just always seemed like the teachable type.
Excuse me, Dr. Felicia, Joanne just texted. She said she's trying to sign in.
Okay, thank you, Brianna. We'll take care of that. Thank you.
Okay, all righty.
Thank you,
Get on
Brianna.
it. Thank you.
Thank you. That she stepped from that role into this role on Abbott Elementary, and it was just like an easy flow because I just remembered her being a teacher on there, and she was so good in helping those kids. There's something very genuine about her. She is Jamaican descent, and she's very proud of her culture. And I don't know if you guys ever remember watching the show Clean House. It was a cable show. She was on there once where they came and her house was kind of messy. And I just thought it was so brave of her to go on a show like that. This was before all the social media was really big. It was coming into play and reveal just herself. So she's just a very down to earth person. And I think she really makes that clear in this book. So I want us to see her because she's known for Dreamgirls. So let's hear her sing in Dreamgirls.
Good.
Let's try to see that. All right. Oops.
Now are Terry Burrell, Loretta Devine, and Cheryl Lee Ralph, the Dreamgirls.
That's really Jerry Lewis telethon.
Every man has his own special dream, and your dream is just about to come true. Life's not as bad as it may seem if you open your eyes to what's in you. Your dream is your dream is so help you through the night. So make you feel alright. If you're dreaming your whole life through.
Loretta Devine.
Mhm.
Where your dream girls go to be happy. If your dream girls so
All right, just a little piece of it, but that was one of her most popular roles, was in Dreamgirls, playing one of the lead characters. And that was Loretta Devine, who is another amazing actress. I didn't remember her being in Dreamgirls.
Hmm.
So another thing we spoke about it is Abbott Elementary. And as Chris mentioned, she's won a lot of awards from that show. And she's been on the circuit. Her speech that she made and she sang, that was a big news clip. She's really gotten a lot of press lately. And I love that she wrote on that in a way not to really promote herself. I know the book is called Diva, but like I said, like I read, she dedicated the book to us, and she's really trying to help her reader get better. She said it was important for her that she helped those of us and uplift women further, which is like her character. I think her character is based a lot on what's deeply inside of her. So I'm so proud of her. She just recently got an honorary doctorate at Rutgers University, her alma mater.
Oh,
I want us to listen to her speech real quick. Get you guys there. And we'll watch this quick video clip. Oops, wrong one. Nope, not that one. Stop sharing. Here it is.
1972, I became one of 400 teenage women chosen to form the first freshman class of women to break the gender barrier and usher co-education.
mhm.
Just imagine what it was like when you all first came here to the campus as freshmen. I mean, everything just looked so rosy and bright. And then our country and the world took a tragic and difficult turn. Kobe died, George Floyd was killed, and then the world stopped. And everything changed when COVID-19 reared its ugly red spiked head and shut down the world. But you stayed the course. You never gave up. You found your way. You kept on studying. You kept doing the work, and you are here on graduation day. Take care of yourself. Take care of your physical, spiritual, and mental self. Do not be afraid to give yourself a checkup from the neck up. Take time every day to look in the mirror and love what you see. respect it, empower it, encourage it, be kind to it. Because the better you can be to yourself, the better you can be to everyone else, and you really matter. Now, above all, whatever you do, I want you to find your joy. Not your mother's joy, not your father's joy, not anybody else's joy, but your joy. Hold on to it. Wrap yourselves in it. Live in it, because that is the key to a happy life.
Isn't she awesome?
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, yeah.
So good. She's so inspirational. And I wanted to share that very recent, that she received that honor. There we go. You guys can see that one now. Play from current slide. Of that honorary doctorate, and gave that beautiful commencement speech. And you can see the whole thing online on YouTube if you'd like. But that one was from Good Morning America, where they cut the best pieces from it. But as we see, she's just a very inspiring woman. And I've seen her grow into her own. From seeing her, the first clip singing Dreamgirls as a young woman trying to make it into Hollywood, to seeing her just a few weeks ago. And we can see that transition. I think that's beautiful to see. Okay, so a diva. We already read it, but a diva loves the woman that she sees in the mirror. She just said that. Look in the mirror and love yourself. A diva owns her talent and her strength. Just encouraging people to look inside and see what are the things that you're good at. What's that joy she talked about. And a diva knows the first step on the road to fame is respecting herself. And she talked about a lot of times where she had to respect herself and say no to things throughout her career that did not work for her. So with that being done, let's dig into Diva 2.0 and these 12 diva lessons. So her first diva lesson was to find your role model and seek their mentorship. So in the first chapter, she talked about the shoulders of people who she held upon. She said, Elizabeth Taylor, who I did not know as long or as well, was a wealth of support as I reached out speaking about AIDS through my Diva Foundation, founded in 1990. I wanted to memorialize the many friends lost to the AIDS epidemic. Another quick-witted woman, Miss Taylor, told me not to be disheartened by those who tried to bring me down. Don't let those people stop you, she said. Most of them couldn't find their A from their connected to them. I'm not gonna say the words on their A if it wasn't connected to them, which is hilarious. Elizabeth Taylor was so funny, so funny. But from that first one, find your role model and seek their mentorship. Just anyone, any thoughts on that and how that maybe has in your life been important as a woman?
I found it very interesting when she named Elizabeth Taylor. She could have said her mother or someone in the family, because those are good examples. But she said Elizabeth Taylor, who in the very beginning, if you know about her work with AIDS, very early, this Elizabeth Taylor, the most beautiful woman in the world, begins her own personal fight against AIDS. And this is at a time when no one knew anything about AIDS, what it was, or anything. And she came to the forefront with her money, her fame, her jewelry, her history, her reputation, whatever she had, she came forth with all of it and fought in the very beginning. All of those who criticized her, hated her, demeaned her, said terrible things about her for coming to the beginning of fighting against AIDS. And so Cheryl Lee Ralph saw this in Elizabeth Taylor, the goddess of the world. If you know anything about Elizabeth Taylor, for Cheryl Lee Ralph to mention Elizabeth Taylor and not be ashamed to say that they became friends because of AIDS. I think that was very important for
Agreed.
Cheryl Lee Ralph to bring herself to the forefront to also fight against AIDS when she had friends dying of AIDS, just like Elizabeth Taylor. But Cheryl Lee Ralph mentioned her African-American friends. No one paying attention to African-Americans who are dying of AIDS.
No,
And
no,
she's the one who came forth.
true, very true. Strong statement. And I'm so glad she started her book that way, like you're saying. That was brave.
Mhm.
And she is something else. That's why I had to show you that clip. She's always stood up for those who need it, and she has not backed back. Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Chris.
Mhm.
Anyone else on that one before we move on to number 2?
Well, sometime in life, you find a mentor that's, hey, may not be African American, Native American, or whatever. It's just what you see in that person that they can be a mentor to you in different ways.
Right, right. Good point, Willie Mae. What we need from them at that time.
Mhm.
Good point.
Mhm.
Good.
Mhm.
All right. So Diva lesson number 2, and she said in her commencement speech, search for your joy, because when you find it and are doing what you love to do, everything will be all right. And she did that. She loved the arts. She loved music. She was in the college theater department. She talks about that. Just the importance of finding joy. I think it's really an important message. She really helps with, she said, take a checkup from the neck up. She said like that.
Mhm.
Mental health and how important it is. That's why
Mhm.
this book is just so important. And I think if you know people who may need a lift, they might read this book and go get and seek help that they might need to find, because of the way she writes it. It's so personable. She's telling her life stories in it, but
Mhm.
trying to help us.
Mhm.
Anybody had any points on that one? Search for joy, because when you do, everything will be all right.
She mentions her mom and others in the family, especially her mother or her grandmother, who wanted her to be a lawyer or a doctor, because they viewed that kind of a profession as important and maybe rising in your status. But then by chance, Cheryl Lee Ralph was going to be a doctor, or she thought going to be a lawyer, because it didn't work out, and just became involved in entertainment and performance, and that became her joy. And she was very sad because she had to disappoint the women in her family who wanted her to be either a doctor or a lawyer or do both. And then she became an actress, a singer, performer, because that was where she found her joy. But at the same time, how different that is. The opposite: a lawyer, a doctor, an entertainer, a singer, nothing in between for her. It was either that or become a lawyer or a doctor.
Yes.
She couldn't do both, all of that. So I think that I thought that was quite revealing of her to say
Absolutely.
that even though she disappointed the women in her family who told her, you are a university student, you're at Rutgers, you're smart, you can be a lawyer, you could be a doctor, you could be anything. And she became what she wanted to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And she alluded to that when she said, don't, not your mother's joy, not your father's joy.
Yeah, that's
your
right.
joy.
Your joy. Yeah.
Go with what you want. She
That's
made
right.
that really clear. Absolutely. Excellent.
Yes.
point.
Mhm.
Anyone else on that one?
Well, when you find your joy, everything will be all right.
Everything will be all right.
That's what she said.
That's what she
Yeah.
said.
Mhm.
Excellent. Okay, lesson 3 I'm going to get to. There are 12 of them, so we'll slow down on some of them. Learn to leave the hurt behind. Carrying it will only make it hurt more. And I resonated with her. We're in page 50. She talks about how in school, she was the only Black person, colonized person, Black person, or Negro that she saw in the girls' room mirror. Making friends was not easy, but I did it. There were the kinds of friends who found me entertaining. They wanted to feel my hair and understand why it could stand up on its own. They wanted to touch my skin as though it would be different from theirs. I quickly discovered that it actually was. My skin was tougher. Through my infantile oh my God, indefatigable ancestors, it had learned years before how to toughen up. When the girls called me names, I wouldn't let it hurt me. I let it just roll off my back into the abyss of America's mortal sin. I tried to believe that what my mother always said, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. But those words did hurt. They used to say I had liver lips. Words did hurt. Funny. I see many of them now paying big money to have lips like mine.
Dr. Felicia, can you, do you see Joanne?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yes, I see. I do. I see Joanne. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Joanne, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, she's with us.
Oh, okay.
So learning to leave the hurt behind, because carrying it will make it hurt more. Anyone want just any thoughts on there? Because I think she's saying a big message here.
That's hard to do.
Hard to do.
Yes.
It's very hard to do when
Yep.
when you have so much faith in your friends who love you or say they do, especially when you're in college, when you have roommates and you go through these kinds of things together, and you share things together at your age, you're young women growing up together, and then me, for example, sometimes I wonder what happened to so-and-so, because we were so close in college and we just drifted apart over the years and we thought we never would.
Right.
I wonder what happened to them. I never hear from them. I never see them. And I think about them and I hope they're doing well. But sometimes it's hard to leave all of that behind because of how much they meant to you. And you wonder, did I mean the same to them as much as they meant to me? I don't know.
Right.
But that's hard to do, is to leave the hurt behind.
It's not. You really have to check yourself.
Yeah.
And know yourself and know your joy to do it. But it's rough and it can take years to work through. Joanne, what do you think?
About what?
Learn to leave the hurt behind. Carrying it will only make it hurt more. What does that mean to you?
Well, leave the hurt behind. You know, there have been moments in my life when I did have to do that. And I had to look and see farther down the road than just right there where I was at that time. And what would be better for me to stay in that spot or try to move direct.
Good.
And I didn't make a comment when you were talking about her and going to college and all.
Yes.
But I was reading the book, and even when you were talking, I thought about when I was graduating from high school and my grandfather and my aunt was deciding where I was going to go to college. And when I came along, they talked about being a nurse or a teacher or a secretary, and I didn't want to be either one. And the first college I went to, they sent me to a teaching college in St. Louis, Missouri. I thought where I would be, but I went because that's where my grandfather said I had to go, and my aunt. By the time I knew where they were sending me, my aunt had already had me registered.
Oh my goodness.
So I went there for a year and I met my husband, who I married, and we stayed married for 44 years. But when I went back to school, I said, I'm going to study what I want to study.
Right.
And so I chose the second best thing that I wanted to do. But it wasn't anything dealing with teaching, being a nurse or a secretary. So, and when I was reading her book, I could see a lot of some of the old traditions or thoughts that they passed on to us. And it's better to have those than not to have any at all.
Yeah, very, very true. Thank you, Joanne, for sharing that. And I think
Mhm.
a lot of us can understand that we were, as women, only told to do certain jobs. You know, they thought that was the best for us. You
Yeah,
were brave too, and you knew what you wanted to do. You weren't interested in that. You were interested in what you wanted to do. You were brave too. You were a pioneer there.
yes, and I didn't know it.
Very good. Very good. All right. Diva lesson 4. I love this chapter. Life is a risk. So take that risk and live your life. She started it by telling us a story of Robert De Niro when he told her Hollywood is not looking for a Black girl. They're not looking for the Black girl. He let her know she was gonna have a hard time in Hollywood, which is such a desponding thing for someone to tell you. She said, you're going to, this is what he said, you're going to have to climb that mountain and wave the red flag. Let them know that you're here because Hollywood is not looking for the Black girl. Wow, he just said that? Hollywood is not looking for the Black girl? A true reality check, because this was 1992. And he thought Hollywood was tough on the Black girl in the 1990s. You should have tried starting out being a Black girl in Hollywood when I did. So she took risks. She stayed out there and she kept knocking on doors to get to where she wanted to go. And I'm going to read from page 67, where she said, life is a risk. When the light turns red and you cross the road thinking everyone is going to stop, what if someone doesn't? Life is a risk when you take out a credit card and buy something on the internet. What if someone takes your name and steals your identity? Life is a risk when you get married and say the vows of lifetime commitment. Will that other person feel the exact same way until death do you part? The answer is this: I have no idea. The truth is life can be hard and there are no set answers. But what is the alternative? Death is. And that is not much of an alternative. Life is a risk and life is for living. Please, thoughts on that? I think she was really profound in this chapter.
Well, she could have quit anytime on her own
Mhm.
because she wasn't getting all those best parts. She wasn't the most beautiful, but she had self-respect. And she wasn't going to go with this producer or that director because they said, I can make you a star,
Yep.
but she wasn't going to go to the casting couch, as she said.
Right.
She had commitment to herself and self-respect, and she would take a position or a role and make this the best that she could because she was that good.
Right.
She was that
Right.
good. She was that good.
She took those risks. Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
One of the things that I remember she said in the beginning, a lot of people don't know who I am. They mix me up with Diana Ross. I am not Diana Ross because of Dreamgirls. And she said, most people don't know that Whoopi is my friend. And they will remember me when I tell them that I was in Sister Act with Whoopi.
Right.
Then they remember who she was in the film when she was the mother of Lauryn Hill.
Right.
They remember her for that role. Then they know who Cheryl Ralph is. But look how far Cheryl Ralph has come since being in Sister Act 2 or 3 or 4. But she was saying, look, Whoopi did this. Thank you, Whoopi. But I made the role. And she became and still is friends with Lauryn Hill and of course Whoopi. But she made every part she took. Well, it was a part with Sidney Poitier,
Right.
whether it was with Robert De Niro. They were famous men, Hollywood movie stars, these men, and they took the time to help her, give her advice that she never forgot. And so no matter the role, no matter the part, no matter how many lines, no matter the time, she did the best she could. And that's what she knew that she could do the best she could.
And I like what you said about how she remembers those shoulders that she stood upon. And she's writing about them like she did with Elizabeth Taylor and Whoopi. Lauryn Hill, she's still friends with them. She just is a very, in my opinion, genuine type person.
Yeah.
Who wasn't self-serving.
No.
Trying to rise to the top and go against her moral fiber.
Yeah.
I know some people in casting and who worked in Hollywood, just through my son's work with martial arts. And when I talk to them about how some people just sell themselves out, and when you wonder, why do they do the things that they do? Go on drugs, hurt themselves. It's because of those things they did when they were first trying to start out that they regret. And so what I love about what she's telling us and all the young people who will read this book too, and those kids at that Rutgers graduation, stay true to you, love you, then you won't be so quick to make a decision that you'll regret. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. That's a good point. Very good point.
Although she does say that she was so young and did not know what she and the other girls and Dream Girls were signing off in terms of money, that even to this day, after all this time has passed, the one thing she did not understand and did not realize, because the times being what they were famous because of the Dream Girls. They were hated because Diana Ross didn't think that she portrayed her well. When Cheryl Ralph said, well, I'm not playing you, Diana Ross. This is not about you, Diana Ross. But at the same time, she and the other girls, her friends, signed off giving the rights to a certain percentage of the proceeds of Dream Girls, that they did not make any money. They didn't make much as compared to the others who exploited them and made much more and are continuing to make more.
Make money off of that. Yeah. But life is a risk. She says, take that risk and live your life, because the alternative is death. And that's not much of an alternative. Life is a risk and life is worth living. And I think that that's so important for us to keep in mind and learn from her, is that there will be risks to take as we move forward. Her lesson number 5 is a no today can be a yes tomorrow. So hold on to your dreams and keep it moving. And she said that showbiz is full of rejection. She was rejected so many times. And then that casting couch, she has a story about that on page 96. How, the hand creeping up her thigh, and that he was interested in a completely different type of entertainment, she said. But she was not about that. She was strong, even as a young woman. And then I love her talking about Roxy Roker, whom I love, and how
she was good too.
Yeah, how Norman Lear was pushing the envelope, and she did some work on the Jeffersons. She learned so much from those around her, and it helped her to understand that just because you get a no today doesn't mean it's not going to be a yes tomorrow. So keep on dreaming, keep on holding on. And it's kind of funny, she was in Dream Girls, which was her first big hit, talking about dreaming, and she could continue to be a dreamer. Anybody have any thoughts on lesson 5? Diva lesson 5. Willie Mae or Joanne? And it doesn't have to mean you have read the chapter, but any point about a no today doesn't have to be a no tomorrow.
I read the book, and when I read that part, I thought, oh my gosh, because I remember when I was young and had just gotten married and this and that, and I was visiting my cousin over in LA, and I was telling her about how I had dreamed about going to Hollywood and this and that. And she says, you don't want to do that. And you know why she said I didn't want to do it? Because of that casting couch. When she said casting couch to me, I said, casting couch, what is that? When she explained it to me, that did it for me. And I probably would not have gone to Hollywood anyways, but I always thought I'd like to be a dancer like the Rockettes or something. I thought, ooh, there was a lot of stuff going on with people that were trying to make it.
Right. Yeah. But you don't want to say yes to the wrong thing.
And that's what my cousin was telling me. And I was just a young thing out of the South. You know, I grew up in a town that was less than 2,000 people, all Black people and all. And so I had this big dream. And when she told me that, and plus I was already married by that time, but I just thought, no, that's not something I want to do.
Yes.
But reading what she had to say and thinking about what my cousin said, I thought about how many young people probably went through that casting couch
Yeah.
and didn't have the strength that she had, you know?
So many did, to their demise. Good.
Yes.
That casting couch, I think that's really important, not to sell yourself out. Excellent. Excellent.
But so much stuff has happened on that casting couch or as a result of casting couch, because I think probably a lot of people
Oh, yeah.
hurt themselves once they realized what they had done and you know, their feelings and their embarrassment and all of that. I just thought, oh my gosh, she was lucky. She had a strong upbringing, a strong foundation.
Yeah.
And she did not divert from those teachings.
Right.
She basically carried herself in the way that her mom and dad could be very proud of her.
Absolutely. Love her. Love her.
And she could be proud of herself.
Absolutely.
Right. Exactly. Because if she couldn't be proud of herself, she wouldn't be able to be successful, because mentally it would, you know, eat away at her. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, lesson 6 says chaos is a natural way of the world. Work through it. And I love her quote, one door closes and a stage door opens. I had always dreamed of being on Broadway. There is nothing like the excitement of performing for a live audience. In the case of the musical Reggae, it was all the way live. Once again, I had no idea that what was in store, but it did not matter. This was Broadway, and I was going to live in the head first, as any true diva would. So, I mean, her life was not just well planned out. No one's is. You're going to have chaotic moments. Things are going to happen, and you're going to be shifted. But the thing is, what we just talked about, when you have the strength to know yourself, you have a good upbringing, and you have a square head on your shoulders, you can get through and work through that chaos. Because there's going to be chaos, no matter how we look at it. It's just the way of the world. But we work our way through it. Willie Mae, what do you think about that? Chaos and working through it.
Well, yes, life can be chaos, and you just have to deal with it day by day and work through it.
Have to. You can't stop. You cannot give up. You got to work your way through it. Let's go to 7. I love this. Don't ever believe in your own press. Stay humble and in a state of gratitude. I think she demonstrated that with what we've been talking about with her. She wasn't self-promoting. She wasn't trying to be all quote that. She wanted to find joy and happiness. She just really seemed to rise to the equation. She says, my mind went blank. Being quietly raised Episcopalian, gospel was not my forte. I only visited the Baptist church once a month or so because my dad was the organist at Zion Baptist. So I just opened up my mouth and sang the first thing that came into my head, a pure and simple Ave Maria. When I finished, the room was silent. Oh, I really messed this one up, I thought into myself. Why didn't I prepare better? But how could I have known? I saw one of the men behind the table roll his eyes. He leaned back with a sigh, and I could tell they had a long day. Thank you, Shirley, Tom said. You're welcome. I left the room. I took my seat back in the waiting room, where I had been asked to stay until we were dismissed. He asked for gospel. I test myself, and I gave him Ave Maria. I leave now and go home right now. Get on the plane and head right back to Hollywood. I had a nice run here in New York. I gave it my best shot. I only know that I haven't forgotten about me in California. Nevertheless, I sat in there and waited. Anyway, of course I did. The day passed in a fog. Periodically, the man with the clipboard would call names. Thanks for coming, he would say. Women would hold back tears or mutter angrily to themselves as they grabbed their belongings. It was an early American Idol, she said, except brutal. They did not call me in to sing again, and I had no idea why they had just kept me hanging around. Maybe it was a mistake, I thought. I waited for something to happen, and I waited. Hours later, finally, something did happen. Loretta Devine, Ramona Brooks, I reached together my bags, and Shirley Ralph, said the man, could come on in, and the rest is history, you may say. Thank you for your time.
Mhm.
So she stayed humble. You know, I'd like her sharing that story of how vulnerable she was, but that was her big break right there. Transitioning into this. But she always stayed humble. Always
Mhm.
did. And I like, don't
Mhm.
believe your own press. You know, sometimes we want to get puffed up and not be humble. And we're in a society now where everyone wants to be a movie star, where everyone wants their minutes of fame and their TikTok page, or how many likes do I have here and how many people love me. I think this diva lesson is a really important one. Is just stay in gratitude. Be grateful for what you do have, because the more grateful you are for what you have, the more you will get. Any thoughts, you guys, on just that saying or anything in this chapter?
Well, I'm
Well,
thinking about her singing Ave Maria when they asked her about gospel music,
Mm-hmm.
without her thinking about it or planning it. She showed them a better range of her voice singing Ave Maria than if she chosen a gospel song
Yeah.
that could have just gone right along. And, you know, I don't think when she sang that song or chose it, she was doing anything to say, oh, this is who I am. That's just what came to her. And I think she was being led by the Holy Spirit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
And,
Mhm.
perfect.
without her even knowing it or planning it, she was able to show them that she could sing and show the whole range of her voice. Because
Right.
Ave Maria is,
That's a hard one.
it
yes,
is. It
yes,
is.
yes.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
Good point. Don't all ever believe your own press. Stay humble and state of gratitude. I think if we for anything else, let's just stay grateful, ladies. Divas, I'll call you, because we got a lot to be thankful for. Don't compare, just be grateful for what we have.
Right. In
Mhm.
other words, don't let it go to your head.
Right.
Right. Just be yourself.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Just
Mhm.
be yourself.
and
Yeah.
you know, sometimes I think that sometimes when we're doing things or this certain little cliques or whatever, especially when we were younger,
Yeah.
they would say, and look at her, who does she think she is? And I think that when she chose some of the things that she did and all, she wasn't even thinking about that. It was just, that's who she really was.
Yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
And so
She was
uh,
true. She was
Mhm.
genuine. Still is. Very genuine. I
Mhm.
could be her friend. I could talk to her. She reminds me of Oprah. I think Oprah is very genuine and open too. Just very open. I think Ellen also. I'm just thinking of different talk show hosts that just really seem to resonate. Excellent.
Mhm.
Lesson 8. Life isn't always fair, but we play fair anyway.
Mhm.
What do y'all think about that? Life's not going to always be
Yes.
fair, but play fair. Go ahead, Willie Mae.
Right. Yeah, sometimes it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Life isn't fair, and you do want to play fair, but sometimes people act ugly, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you do, and you regret it later for acting up,
Right.
by not playing fair. But I think people learn as they go along, and you feel bad because you did it, because that's not really who you are.
Right.
So,
Right. Right. Always do the right thing. Always take the high road. it'll come back around. So you may as well do it the right way. No,
Yeah.
life isn't always fair, but don't try to get even. Don't try to, I'll do this or that. That's just what it reminded me of. Just keep on doing what's right. Because karma, what goes around comes around.
Right, right.
Fairness, so be fair with everyone else. I love that one. Lesson 9, never, ever, ever, ever give up on your dreams. I think it just resonates to her life. She did not give up on her dreams. She's in her early 60s. She's still doing things, still making commencement speeches, killing it on Abbott Elementary. She's
writing books,
writing books that we're using in book clubs and book clubs all over.
doing interviews on talk shows. Oh my gosh.
She's not giving up, right?
Yeah.
Never, ever give up on your dreams. I think if we don't remember anything else, let's remember that one as we go into summer. Not to give up on your dreams. You're not too old or not the right color or the right gender or anything. Don't give up on your dreams, because that's how things happen. She came from a Hollywood where they're not looking for that Black girl to just shining and being wonderful. And that's just a story of our history as African Americans. You know, this is the African American club. It's just people not giving up on the dream. Martin Luther King had a dream, right? It always went back to a dream. We can't give up on the dream, or there's nothing to live for. Lesson 10 is love gives you wings to soar, not pain. And we know that life can be painful. Pain happens. People hurt us. But love gives you wings to soar, not pain. She picked a lot of wrong men, she talked about. And doesn't this sound familiar? I think every woman we've talked about, almost every author has had this kind of story where they picked the wrong men and they were hurt. You have to pick yourself up from it and not let that pain keep you down. I told you that she was on that show, Clean House. I just loved watching her on there. I'm probably going to watch that episode tonight. And it's just, you know, she was single at the time. And they had just made a point where she had books in her bed or whatever. She's like, this bed, what are all these books doing in here? All this stuff doing in here? Are you trying to stay single? Because look at what you're living like. So I knew that from watching it, she was in a hard time and coming off of a bad relationship. But she says love helps you soar, not pain. Any thoughts on that? I just think love is just, we're gonna stop for a minute on love.
Well, you have to love yourself, respect yourself, like yourself, be true to yourself, because you're the only one who knows how you feel. And what she says, if you look in the mirror, like who you see, and like what you see yourself from the neck up. That's you in the mirror. People might see something different. That's okay. But who are you? Who do you see? What's your reflection? If you don't like it, you can change it. Get a haircut, lose weight, whatever. But like yourself, respect yourself, and it'll always come back to you. As someone who is admirable, that people can respect, that people like, that your children or your students or the young people who want to be like you and see you. I'm sure she probably had adults in her life that she wanted to be like. And she probably doesn't talk about that, but we all grow up with people in our lives that we want to be like that, or we want to like them, but then in the end we are like too.
People look at us, but you gotta love. I like that you brought that point. She said that one person you look in that mirror, love that person. That's what she told the Rutgers students. Love starts with us. Beautiful. And 11, she always says about sisterhood. There is power in sisterhood, and that kind of power can change the world for the better. Just making sure we as women are lifting each other up and having that powerful sisterhood, because as we pull together, we can change the world. And then the final one, the first step toward being great is being grateful. She takes us right back to gratitude. If you want to be great, you gotta be grateful for what you have, whatever that is. She's a very God-fearing woman. You can tell, and she knows the power of gratitude. Gratitude is so special and important for us to keep at the forefront of our life. So those are her 12, but then she gave us 12 bonus ones on the last page of the book, and I'm going to read them. Number 1, God can do in 60 seconds what you can't do in a lifetime. Give God the will. Number 2, you matter more than you can imagine. You are enough. Number 3, sometimes you just have to do it yourself. Every time you wait on someone else to do it for you, you give up your power. Own your power.
Mm.
Number 4, oops, and my battery is showing low, and I don't want to, hold on, guys.
That was a good one you just read.
Yes. Number 4, life is very short. Shower the people you love with love, especially yourself. Number 5, big or small, you have influence. Use it wisely. Number 6, everybody does not need the mic. Number 7, talk to and take time to encourage young people. I'm with her on that.
Mhm.
Number 8, when you think your peace of mind is out of reach, you are not alone. Get a checkup from the neck up. Good night. The past is the past. The future has not arrived, but the present is here, right now. And what a gift it is. Be
Mhm.
present, stay in the moment. Number 10, when you know when you have been blessed, when you know that you have been blessed, it is up to you to bless those around you. Just be a blessing.
Mm.
Number 11, sometimes it's the thing you fear doing most that once you do it, might actually make you stronger. But be careful. And number 12, the world will keep spinning when you stop. The world
Mm.
keeps spinning when you stop.
Mhm.
So I love it. I give it a 10. I think it's a great, easy read.
Yeah, it's fun. I liked it.
fun
Yeah,
book.
yeah,
Good one. It's a nice read.
yeah.
But go back in and think about the different keys that she's giving us. The first step toward being great is being grateful. That's the first one she said. Just continue to think about these things in here. So
Mhm.
everyone, before I tell you about the summer break and the next book, just one thing that you might take from any of the sayings. I know you're not going to remember them all, but anything that resonates with you from Diva 2.0.
Be true to yourself.
Mhm.
Uh,
I agree with Chris, and that was one of the things that I was thinking about when I was reading this book. I thought, oh, I should get one of these books for each of my girls. That would mean 4 of them, but I don't know if they would read it or not. But there's some good stuff in here that they could hopefully read and pick up and take with them. And
Mhm.
some of the teachings are like what they used to teach us way back in the day, about
Yeah.
be true to yourself and how you carry yourself and all
Mhm.
that.
Yes.
So
I love that. Be true to yourself, and definitely a good book to give to your daughters. Yes.
Mhm.
I have a lot of sayings on my bulletin board, and one of them I'm looking at says, when writing the story of your life, don't let anyone else hold the pen. So
Yeah.
if you're going to do anything, you do it. Don't let anybody else write about you. You write about yourself.
Mhm. Mhm.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Good. Good one. Very good. Yes.
I think the thing that just stands out to me is just the power of love and gratitude, just to continue to love myself and love others and to be grateful, have a grateful heart. I think that that's just such a key, because when you have a grateful heart, you're going to be able to help lift other people up. I think I'm an educator at heart, and that's what I'll always be, no matter what I'm doing. And so I just find it important that I have that gratitude, so that I can continue to be a blessing to young people.
Hmm.
So I love that she mentioned young people and that she talked to the Rutgers graduates. which are
Yeah, that's
my
wonderful.
people.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
at
So
her own alma
their
mater.
own alma mater. That stood out.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. Phew.
So
Wow.
beautiful, beautiful book. Well, you guys know we take a summer break. So we will not be back until August, and
Okay.
sorry, yeah. But in August, we're going to read The African American Experience in Tempe, which is actually a PDF, I'm told, on the website. I've actually never read this. Some of you probably have.
Oh, that's Jared Smith's book for
Mm,
the
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
I have a copy of that. Mhm.
Right.
It is
in this-
online. It is
It's
online.
online, but we have a copy at the museum as well if anyone wants
Yes,
to borrow
yeah.
it.
Right. And I thought Brenda said they were going to make more copies.
Yes, we just restocked the store and I'll put a copy in with the book club books for checkout as well.
excellent.
Oh, okay.
So that'll be our book, our next book in August.
Okay. All
Just
right.
to kind of, I want to read the book and I want to know more about it. I flipped through it and I know some of the people in there, but maybe we can invite some of those people to be online with us. That's my goal.
Yeah, that would be good, and have Jared there since he put it all together too.
Yes, I was just going to suggest that, Willie Mae. I
Right.
agree with Willie Mae. Having Jared there would be good because he could give us more insight into the people that he wrote about in the book. And
Right.
Sounds good.
I also have a recommendation.
Yes, please.
Jared Smith mentioned Stella McHenry, the first African-American graduate from ASU, class of 1925. He found that information, but couldn't verify that she did graduate, but she is a senior, but it's 1923 and not 1925.
Hmm.
Now the university archivist at the Hayden Library is Shannon Walker. Shannon Walker is going to be a speaker when in the fall we begin the Lunch Talk series for the Tempe History Museum. And Shannon Walker is going to be speaking in 2024 as part of that series on Stella McHenry, being the first African-American senior in the class of 1923. And she has since Jared and she have gotten together, Shannon Walker has met with the family of Stella McHenry who live in California.
Right.
So when Shannon Walker comes to speak about Stella McHenry, one of the family members who live in California is going to be with her when Shannon Walker speaks for the Tempe History Museum Lunch Talk series.
Okay.
Right.
So Shannon Walker could be invited to speak to speak about Stella McHenry, who is mentioned in this book by Jared Smith.
Perfect.
That's just an idea.
Oh, I love that idea. I know we're still in recording mode, so we'll stop recording. So thank you all for joining us.
Okay.